Mike Dell's World number 236 for November 24th, 2015. We're going to kick it a little old school here.
Don't bend the space-time continuum for me, babe.
Quit screwing around with that thing. You found Mike Dell's World. And good morning, good evening, good afternoon, whatever the case may be. And I call this old school just because this is how all my podcasts used to start back in the day. Used to do the intro, then play some music, then talk a little bit, play some more music. You know, kind of the Adam Curry. Adam Curley?
Dude, what's up with that?
Adam Curry. And that's who said that. Anyway, that's how he used to do daily source code. So that's kind of what I used to do. You know, I was emulating my mentor there. And today I just thought I'd bring a little bit of that back. That song you heard was from the PodSafe Music Network. Rest in peace. Back in the day, and that's Area Code 615 was the name of the band. And of course, that's a cover of Classical Gas, obviously using banjos instead of guitars. And I always loved that song, so I figured I would throw that in here, and what the heck. And I did skip yesterday on my National Podcast Posting Month, but I made up for it today by appearing on Sean Thorpe's podcast, and I count that as a podcast episode because we spent a good part of an hour, probably a little more than that. I don't know. I guess we'll find out when he posts it. He's probably actively editing it right now, so it should be up fairly soon over at hypernonsense.com. Sean Thorpe is one of my coworkers over at Raw Voice, and we decided to have a podcast. So mainly we're talking about weather in Traverse City versus St. Louis Obispo, California, and some of the finer attributes of both places. And we also talk about some podcasting stuff, and it was a entertaining conversation. I enjoy it. I do plan on having Sean on my podcast help desk show at some point when he has something to promote. And like I said, Sean's one of my coworkers there at Raw Voice, one of the support team members, and it's awesome. You can also see what else he's doing over there at Sean.mx. He has all his stuff there. Him and his wife both are prolific podcasters and writers. Sean writes for Geek News Central, Podcaster News, and I forget where else, but he does a lot of freelance writing, audio production. So if you need any audio production, he's really good at that. And like I said, you can find out all about that stuff over at Sean.mx and listen to his special feed over there for National Podcast Posting Month at hypernonsense.com. And I will have links over at MikeDell.com. And like I said, we talked about all kinds of stuff. It was a lot of fun. Of course, my last show was a little ranty, but a lot about podcasting. As I was telling Sean on his podcast there, the reason I started Podcast Help Desk is because I was talking about podcasting too much on this show and on Geek of the North. And every other show that I talked about, that I was on, and back, when podcasting was fairly new in 2005, 6, 2007, most podcasters talked about podcasting. They talk about their mics, they talk about new equipment, they talk about this, they talk about that. We called it navel gazing. And I was doing too much of that well into the probably 2011, 2012 time frame, and finally decided, I need a show about podcasting, and that's how Podcast Help Desk was born. But then I'm going to, right after this, I'm going to tell you about a new piece of equipment I got. I was having a problem with trying to figure out which sound card stuff was going, and you heard the fruits of that with all that stuff at the beginning. I use a separate USB sound card for any sound effects or music that I play into the mixer board, and then I have yet another USB sound card that does Skype or FaceTime or whatever, if I'm going to interview somebody or whatnot, and I call that my caller channel. But the problem was I had two of the exact same sound cards. I had Griffin iMics. I had two of them. I have two of them. One of them now is disconnected and dangling in front of the microphone. I hope you can see that. Anyway, it got real confusing on the Mac because on the Mac, you can't rename the sound cards. So both of them were coming up as iMic. And I would always get it screwed up. And when I was doing a mix minus, people would get echo, and it was just really kind of a pain. So I purchased a Behringer U-Control UCA222, which probably means nothing to you. It means nothing to me other than I'm holding the box and reading it. But it's a USB sound card. So now I have two different USB sound cards that I can tell the difference between them in the Macintosh sound settings. So now I know every time I play something in the on the soundboard over here, if I could, now I've got too many screens open. If I play something over here on the soundboard, I know that it's coming from the Behringer sound card instead of the iMic.
This podcast is part of the Blueberry Network. Find other fine podcasts at www.blubrry.com. That's blueberry with no E's.
Yeah, see, like I said, it's just old school. We play the little stingers and whatever. Let's see what this one is. And of course, got my elevator dinger, ding, and then I played earlier Adam Curry.
Dude, what's up with that?
And of course, at the end of the show, I used to play this all the time. This is not the end of the show, but check it out.
That's all, folks.
And oh yeah, I got my my blueberry. Other than Keith there saying, this show is part of the Blueberry Network, I've actually got official Blueberry ad spots here, but I'll play the short one.
Hello, this is your computer. This podcast is part of the Blueberry Network. I enjoy blueberries. Please find more at blueberry.com. Blueberry. No E's, please.
Okay, enough playing with the soundboard. But anyway, I've got the soundboard set to the new Behringer output and then into a channel on my mixer. And, this would be a better conversation for Podcast Help Desk, but I'm having it here anyway. And like I said, that's why I started Podcast Help Desk. Let's see, what else has been going on? The snow has been melting. We got a bunch of snow on Saturday. I think I might have said something about it. I might not have. We got a bunch of snow on Saturday, and it's all melting. So we're pretty, it's still, the yard's covered, and, the driveway is about half not covered, but it's a muddy mess, and it's been 40-something degrees, and so it's melting. At work, the office parking lot, it's definitely a mud bog. And the neighbors at work there, it's a small engine shop, and they're in a rather small building, so they have to have some extra storage for parts and whatever. And so they got a bunch of old semi-trailers backed up to the docks at the building, because the building they have was an old cross dock for a freight company, Yellow Freight, if you're familiar with it. Before they moved out of there, that was a cross dock for them. So there's like 6 or 7 garage doors on either side and docks you can plug semi trucks into. Well, they've got 4 or 5 old semi trailers backed up to the back side of the building, so they got storage. And today they were they were putting in another one, and they were running around in that mud bog out there. That semi was just covered with mud by the time he was done, and he did a good job of tearing up their driveway. It was kind of entertaining to watch, but our snow is melting. It should be all gone by tomorrow night. For Thanksgiving, those of you in the U.S. That celebrate Thanksgiving, it's this Thursday, and on Thanksgiving, we're supposed to have rain. It's supposed to be near 50 degrees. And then Thanksgiving night is supposed to cool off. We're supposed to get some measurable snow again. We had a little bit of lake effect, I guess. Was it Sunday and a little bit of Monday? And I totally unrelated subject, but my driver from NASCAR actually won the Sprint Cup Series, Kyle Busch. I know half the people that listen to NASCAR hate Kyle Busch and the other half like him. And those of you that don't listen to NASCAR have no idea what I'm talking about. But I definitely have become a NASCAR fan over the years. And, of course, Kyle Busch, I like him because he drives Toyota. And I don't own a Toyota anymore, but, I always thought that was cool, a Toyota in NASCAR. And finally, this is Toyota's first championship, so it should be interesting. I guess first week of December they're having all the award ceremonies and stuff in Las Vegas. And darn it, I can't go this year, but I do plan on going to that some year. I don't know when, but they're having that in Las Vegas, and it'll of course will be televised. So I'm looking forward to watching a little bit of that on TV. So, and my football teams. I follow the University of Michigan Wolverines, and only when Michigan State, which is the Michigan State Spartans, when they play Ohio State, of course I always root for them. So Michigan won their game this week against Penn State, and Michigan State University won against Ohio State, which is particularly great because Ohio State had a 23-game winning streak or something like that, and it was great that State beat them. State also beat Michigan this year, the Wolverines, which, whatever. It was one of those last-minute things. And I was sitting in the Detroit airport. I was flying home from a conference I did down in Winston-Salem, North Carolina, and the last half of the game, I had a long layover. I'm sitting at the terminal, the bar, waiting for the flight to Traverse City from Detroit, and the game was going on, and it was really cool. Delta Airlines, basically the whole terminal is Delta Airlines, although I think there's a couple of gates for KLM and I don't know what. But, it's if you've ever been to Detroit in the McNamara terminal, it's a huge, huge terminal. It's 70 gates, and, it's a mile and a half long. They actually have a train that takes you from one end of the gate, or one end of the concourse to the other. It's just huge. But Delta, for the last, I think, 2-3 minutes of the game, had the game on all the screens, at each of the gates going on, and they had it pumped through the speakers and all that. And the last minute, the guy that catches the ball and then holds it for the kicker to kick a field goal or to punt or whatever, whoever the guy that catches the ball fumbled the ball, and State grabbed it and went in for a touchdown and won the game in the last 10 seconds. And that whole terminal just went crazy. It was nuts. But anyway, State beat Michigan this year, which, like I said, really shouldn't have happened. But hey, mistakes happen, and, more power to them. They beat Ohio State, which was just awesome, because this weekend on Saturday is the Michigan-Ohio State game, and that's the football game of all football games. And I'm not a real big sports nut, but I'm really rooting for University of Michigan. So, yeah, my week in sports was pretty good. My driver won the Sprint Cup, and Michigan State beat Ohio State. Actually, anybody beating Ohio State I'm a fan of. Not really. I've actually taught at Ohio State, and it's a beautiful campus and all that, and the company I work for is based in Columbus, Ohio, so, I'm really not that bad. But, one day a year, I hate Ohio State, and the rest of the time, whatever. So, anyway, I'm looking forward to that game this weekend. Of course, I will report on that since we're still doing, and Sean, if you listen to that one that I was on with Sean, he actually pronounces Napodpomo, or however it's pronounced, and he pronounced it pretty good. So we'll listen to that. Well, I'm gonna go ahead, since I've got some listeners that are former Traverse City podcast listeners over here. I'm gonna play yet another song. This is the song by the Hackney Turtles. They did a Traverse City based song, so pretty cool. I'm going to play that, and I'll be out of here.
Sunrise paints these cherry-colored clouds, wakes the earth, shining rays out on the ground, brings to life a town below the base, where there's great food and better people, everyone's a friend, all are welcome, where the compass ends, to raise a toast to one more day. I feel it calling me, it's drawing me in. I feel it calling me, it's drawing me in. Take me there, take me where it's pushing, pulling me along. Takes me slow sun and snow. Nothing ever looked so pretty. Oh my, my, oh my. Take me there to Traverse City. I'm dreaming of a paradise, and mine is in the north. This feeling brings me back, always wanting more. Close my eyes, and the moments and memories always make me smile. I feel it calling me, it's drawing me in. I feel it calling me, it's drawing me in. So take me there, take me where it's pushing, pulling me along. Takes me slow, my heart is full, everything's about from wrong. Smiles dancing, sun and snow, nothing ever looks so pretty. Oh my, my, no my. Take me there to Traverse City.
Yeah, I imagine if you go down to the bay right now, you'd hear waves like that, but they're definitely not warm and inviting. And maybe in the background you'll hear the Coast Guard helicopter flying over the house here, but probably not, since I got all this great podcast equipment here. It sort of negates all the background noise, or at least most of it. Jim Farley. I don't know if you guys remember him from our last What's Up With That version of Mike Dell's World. Jim Farley's in town. I don't know as we'll get a chance to get together, but it's possible. I don't know when he leaves. But one of these days I'm going to get him to do another What's Up With That podcast. That'll be fun. So, hey, till tomorrow or the next day or however long it takes me to do another one. Hopefully I'll still be on track for 30 podcasts in 30 days. And for National Podcast Posting Month. Anyway, catch me later.